And everyone, we're here for the Norfolk County Commissioners meeting of Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. To start, pursuant to the executive order on remote participation on March 28, 2025, Governor Healy signed into law House Bill 62, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which includes a 2-year extension of the option for public bodies to hold remote meetings by suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Master General Law, Chapter 38. Sections 18 through 25, that act was effective, immediately extending the current option for remote meetings through June 30th, 2027. So we'll have the call to order. Roll call. Commissioner Stady.
I am present, sir.
And I am also present. Our chairman is away this week on county business. And Pledge of Allegiance.
Yep.
All right. Jenny, you want to lead us?
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to move you over. Line up the flag.
All right. So we've covered items 1 and 2. The third item is an executive motion for an executive session.
Yes, Mr. Chair, acting chair, I will move the following.
Acting temporary interim chair, yes.
Get it going. I'll move the following, that we go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law 38, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares.
I'll second the motion. That's a roll call vote. Commissioner Stady?
I was,
Yes.
yeah, yes.
And I'm also yes. So we are now in executive session. Welcome back, everyone. Item number 4, minutes of the open session meeting of March 25th, 2026. Do I hear a motion?
Second?
No. Do I hear a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's all right. Yeah, move right into that. So, Mr. Chair, I'll move approval of the open session meeting minutes of March 25.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Item B.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the executive session meeting minutes of March 25th with stipulation not to release until such time as the chair so declares.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Great. Number 5, appointments. John, do we have any appointments today?
No, sir.
Okay. Item 6, public comment. Every week we have public comment during the county commissioner meetings. If there's anyone on Zoom that wants to make a public comment, please do so now. Okay, hearing nothing. John, has anyone asked for to be heard in public comment?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on, last chance for public comment. Okay, now item 7, old business. John, any old business?
No, sir.
Okay, number 8, personnel matters. Richard.
Yes, sir. We have a long list of personnel matters to move on today. The first list I'm going to read has to do with the Norfolk County Agricultural High School. I'm going to divide it up to make it a little bit easier. The first one is the notice of contingent employment, and I have 4 of those. And the individuals are Jeffrey Laflamme,
Yeah.
Meredith Conlon, Logan Parsons, and Logan Hosenton. And these are for various jobs from student laborer to STS special ed. The dates are from effective date from 3/26 and 4/2. And I would move at the rate stated for each of those individuals. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This is approved. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we have a long list of resignations. I guess this is just cleaning up some old business. So I'm going to move the following as one motion. I move the motion to approve the notice of resignation for Kathleen Tempesta, Victoria White, Carlos Turan, Jeanette Rossetti, John O'Keefe, Lydia Panflova, Mary Paley, and those all would be for substitute instructors at the rate stated, and the effective date would be 3/26/26. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
For the next group at the Aggie, we have moved the following: the notice of resignation for student laborers: Michael Robinson, Brian Poland, Rachel Wing, Sean Pugsley, looks like, forgive me, Julie Randall, Marabella Romano, Elizabeth Walsh. And these were all for student laborers or students helping out at summer camp. I move approval for their resignation with the effective date, the minimum of 3/26/26. So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye. And
Unanimous.
that's it for that group. For Walter Recreational Facility, I will move approval of the rehire of Brian Foley as a seasonal golf associate at the rate stated, effective date tomorrow, 4/2/26. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
I move approval of the notice of contingent employment for Thomas Healy as a seasonal golf associate at the rate stated, effective date 4/2/26. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
And then we have one last item. I move approval of credible service. Devote the approval for the credible service vacation credit for Maureen McKinnon as the CPO, effective date 11/18/25.
Correct.
Correct. So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
That concludes that.
Perfect. Okay, item number 9 is the payroll and expense warrants for
All right.
approval.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have 3 items. I'm moving the approval for the warrant list of 4/1/26. First, I move approval of 26-39. Payroll of the county, the sum $148,027.82. So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Second, I move approval of the payroll of the school, line 26-3920. The sum $410,446.57. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
And last, I move approval of the expense of the county, line 040126, the sum $166,342.71. So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
That concludes that list, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Richard.
Sure.
Okay, next is the number 10, discussion and possible vote for the fiscal year 2027 budget recommendation. John.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. It is my pleasure to present to you a proposed FY27 budget for Norfolk County. At this time, I'd like to have Bill pull up the slide deck. It's a very brief slide deck presentation that summarizes the gist of what is in the budget. Following this, I will go through the budget. I believe I have approximately 11 callouts that I'll bring to your attention as you consider a vote this afternoon on this proposed budget. Thank you, Bill. So going on to slide 1, there are several sections of this, including the budget development, a revenue explanation, a discussion on retirement liability projection, and then finally, budget highlights. With respect, I know the presentation in paper doesn't look great, so I'll call your attention to the screen. The red arrow indicates where we are in the FY27 budget development. As you can see, we're a little late, but that's okay. We're here on April 1st for Commissioners' vote on the FY27 budget, with the anticipation of moving this thus to the advisory board for their public hearing on April 15th, with an anticipated vote of the Finance Committee Advisory Board on May 13th. So we're still on schedule. There's a little bit of a opportunity between today and April 15th to deal with FY26 supplemental transfer items, which you'll hear from me next week on. So we'll add that to your vote list. Okay. Next slide, Bill. Revenue. So when we open up the budget, you'll see this in just a minute. Revenue drives where any budget goes, and I just want to call out several areas that you'll see are favorable in FY27. One of the things that we noticed immediately was the need to upgrade or update the deeds excise projection for FY27. We're going to increase that expectation by $225,000, and the court rental fees will go up $200,000 from FY26 as well. The Wollaston Recreational Facility continues its annual tracking of running a surplus over costs. The course closed calendar year 25 with a nearly $200,000 revenue improvement from prior year. The Commissioners also approved a new fee schedule for calendar year 26 that, coupled with this new recurring revenue-based results from calendar year 25, provide an increased revenue projection of $180,000. And then finally, the county is projecting its first revenue from the Aggie Solar Project. The North Street project, also known as Phase 2, is proceeding and is expected to be activated in September, October of 2026, resulting in approximately $50,000 in new revenue. Next slide, Bill. Revenue that's down trending, reflecting miscellaneous receipts, projecting down $420,000 due to an anticipated closure of Quincy District Court in September of 2026. The Computer Access Fund and Quincy District Court, which are minor revenue sources at this point, are also trending downward into FY27. And although the amount of revenue that you'll see in a moment from ARPA interest, which is bolstering our FY27 budget, is up from FY26, that's misleading. This is non-recurring revenue. An additional $813,000 is being drawn from interest gained from the ARPA account, and it will now have a balance of approximately $380,000 following this draw. This factor is considered unfavorable as it is non-recurring. Overall, the county's reliable revenue base is stable. However, continued pressure from healthcare and retirement liability obligations require use of this non-recurring revenue in FY27 and likely stabilization for FY28 to FY33 to balance the county's budget until the retirement obligation is paid in FY33. Commissioners, in the past, I've drawn your attention to this schedule, but this afternoon, I just wanted to take a few minutes to focus more on the projected retirement liability plan. As you can see on the 8.5 by 11, go to the big page. It's easier to read.
Yep.
I put together a model or plan that could be considered to address this. Please consider the FY27 column baked. It's done. We're going to assign $1.5 million from ARPA interest to help offset the increase in burden, if you will, of the retirement liability. Focus on FY28 to FY33. That period of time is likely, against the schedule provided by the Norfolk County Retirement Board, to require additional non-recurring revenue each year. I'm projecting approximately 1.5, and you can see it fluctuates a little bit between now and FY33. So how will we pay for that? There is a manner of approaching this which would involve reserves, also known as stabilization funds. And as you can see under the payment model from FY28 to FY33, we would draw down from the balance of approximately $7.2 million effective July 1st, a sum of money that will eventually lead us to FY32, where we still have a positive balance. But by FY33, which is the last year of the retirement liability catch-up plan, the county will need an additional $1.2 million. So looking at this through the lens of planning and forethought, I would recommend that between FY28 and 33, the county really focus on pushing as much of its surplus every year directly into stabilization to help offset the spend down. A minimum of $250,000 will help you to achieve the full payment of this retirement obligation by FY33. Off to the right, you'll note there's an area from FY34 onward where the retirement payment schedule, liability payment schedule goes down a lot. Through my calculations, I see a windfall coming in, which will be sort of the position that the county at that time looked to begin to recoup its reserves and start contributing all or most of that windfall each year back into stabilization, ultimately looking to achieve 20% of stabilization of your operating account, which is the best position you can be in. So overall, the next several years, which I think I've spoken about in the past, do plan to be quite burdensome, but starting in FY28, we will likely be out of interest to achieve the balance, and it will require some level of thought and planning. And at this point, I'm recommending a stabilization account draw in concert, if you will, with stabilization deposits as surplus allows. So I'll certainly welcome any questions, commissioners, but this piece alone is driving a big portion of your budget each year. So I'll move on at this point back to the PowerPoint build to the next page, which is slide.
Questions. Well, can we ask
Please go right ahead.
Is that okay?
Sure.
So I'm going to work backwards here. And great job, as always, John, for the chair. So if I'm reading this right, I understand what's going on now. The ARPA interest is used in 27 and 28, then it's gone, correct?
Yep.
The stabilization will be drawn down each year starting in fiscal 28, and then it's gone in 23, 33?
It would be gone absent any other deposits or actions. This is sort of a static.
That's the money we got from the sale of the Quincy.
No, that's separate. Quincy money's separate.
Oh, okay.
This is your rainy day fund.
This is our rainy day fund. Okay. So the rainy day fund would be drawn down in the critical years, fiscal 33, if I'm reading this right.
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And then, all right. Okay, that takes care of that. Let me work back for a second.
Do
On your,
you want me to complete the presentation and then we can address other questions, or do you want to hit it
Sure.
now?
Whatever you want.
that's fine.
Okay. There's only 2 more pages.
That's fine. I thought it was done.
Slide 7, Bill. Here we are. So budget highlights. The FY27 county budget is projected to grow by 2.9% from FY26. The engineering department is renamed Survey Engineering Department to align with the core duties and missions. You'll note that the total funded FTE headcount is down 6, primarily from the defunding of 5 positions in the maintenance department. With decreased revenue from the state to operate Quincy District Court next year, this planned previous vacant position deletion is an offset to the revenue. So our plan worked. It keeps everybody fully employed, no layoffs. We'll just simply close Quincy when the time comes and move on. The Norfolk County Agricultural High School was directed to utilize new state-directed program of lottery-based admissions. The result was more in-county students for freshman year than previously planned. A revenue shortage was offset by a $2,000 per student tuition increase for out-of-county students. Next slide, Bill. The county continues its modest improvements to budget presentation by adding images this year for each department reflecting our mission. Salary adjustments for the county director and the assistant county director are to take effect in May 2027 upon the expiration of ARPA stipends. The Registry of Deeds budget is funded above mandate by $193,000, and I'll show you that in just a second. Excuse me. The county continues to examine cost-saving measures. Survey engineering and facility maintenance staff now attend annual safety trainings to promote safe working environments that will lower work-related injury claims. The county also accepted the Mayflower Health Group recommendation to exclude so-called GLP weight loss drug options next year. And I think I mentioned when this came through the commission several weeks ago, if that option had been placed upon us to fund, we would be looking at a 20% increase in healthcare costs rather than 10. So it was a savings of significant dollars. I will get into the budget in just a minute, but I always like to take a moment each year at this moment to thank the people, and there are a lot that contributed to making your annual budget. That includes the department heads who started this process with the hours that they and their staffs put together to present to you back in February. Our fiscal team, Bill Buckley, Phil Iantosca, Maureen, and Alec, invaluable. We have multiple table reads about where these budgets were heading, and analysis, and of course our IT team, who do yeoman work as well, assisting us with producing this budget. Commissioners, I'll be happy to pause at this moment before I get into the budget and answer any questions you might have on the presentation. Richard.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The overall revenue isn't really cited. You cite bullets that said excise goes up and the golf course went up and maybe revenue from the solar. So would it be fair to say that the ballpark number on increased revenue is maybe 500,000?
In the net upwards, yes.
In the net upward?
Yes, so we'll see the revenue picture in just a second.
Oh, okay. All right.
Main budget.
Because then you have revenue going down too.
Those were highlights. Yep.
Okay. All right. So I'll leave with a number. That's also good.
Yeah.
The other thing is the budget, when you forecast it out 6 or 7 years, there's always a danger that we're not including other things that we may take up. For example, if our sealer program continues to expand, we may have additional revenue coming in from new towns, possibly. Right. So, all right.
Healthcare costs are another wild card.
Okay, you're right. All right. Well, okay, right. So, I mean, look, we're basing the amount of deficit extrapolated out on 2026 numbers, which is fair. But at the same time, as this board moves along and others that may succeed us, they may adjust the Walton rate. They may adjust the other things. So there could be some extra revenue coming in.
I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
A lot will change.
Okay.
Every budget, when you draft it, is a simple snapshot of what you know today.
Right.
And certainly in 6 or 7 years, if we're all sitting here, we'll say, well, that was close.
Yeah.
But the point of this is to simply make the policymakers and certainly the fiscal decision makers know and have their eyes wide open. You have a challenge in front of you that's quite significant. This is a path to try to address it. Without that kind of foresight, you may run into situations, for example, Richard, where you said, we want to grow a program here because we think it's a really good idea.
Right.
But that extra $200,000 or $300,000 program growth, for example, is undermining your ability to pay bills, knowing you have a structural issue that's caused by this liability until FY33. So the commissioners can make that decision with their eyes wide open, knowing you have a bit of a problem and you're exacerbating with that
Right,
decision.
right.
So it's an offset, but that's what decision makers need to do.
If I could add just one last thing, I'm very, very pleased that our assistant superintendent is here because we had a trustee meeting, as you know, Peter, last week, virtual Zoom, and the issue had to do with the fiscal result of the new policy, and we were able to get a little bit of an excess. But I think you can see where we're going here, that you really can't be counting on the county, although we're there for you,
Right.
but it would behoove you as you prepare your numbers, not criticism, just take the message back that we need to build in a cushion itself because you can see how tight our numbers are running.
Right,
That
right.
gives you an appreciation.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So well done, by the way.
Good to know.
for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
On to the budget. Commissioners, as usual, have used call-out boxes to draw attention to various interests as we go through this 90-some-odd page budget. Bill, if you kindly pull up the budget and go to page 2, which is the table of contents. And commissioners, I have approximately 10 or 11 call-outs. Happy to answer any questions after that on the general budget.
Oh,
So, simply here, I'm just pointing out again, we're renaming the engineering department, the survey engineering department, which reflects their actual specialty. Next page, which is the revenue page, Richard, we just talked about. A lot of action on this page. You can see this is the main drop where we sum up all of our revenue sources. And you can see we balance, we're projecting a total budget for FY27 of $38,936,113.34. I've already mentioned some of the increases, to deeds excise, the Wollaston Recreational Facility. I've talked a little bit about the opera interest and how we're using 1.5 to balance this coming year's budget. I'm also showing how little we're carrying for Quincy District Court rent. That will evaporate entirely in FY28. We have 3 months to fund in FY27. And of course, there's a call out on the left showing for the first time, we'll start tracking revenue received from the solar project at North Street. The next call out, Bill, will be on page 15. So this is our proposed miscellaneous and contingent expenses document. Calling out again the 2 lines that are growing dramatically. The first is page next page, Bill. I'm sorry, 1 page back. Thank you. The top right, you'll see $469,170 increase for our group insurance, and that is a 10% increase by Mayflower Health Group. As I mentioned, that increase was moved downward as a result of some internal Mayflower dialogue. It was supposed to be in the 20s. They're trying to control some costs associated with GLPs and other areas. And then also our retirement liability I just spoke about will be $3.4 million in FY27. That's an increase of $429,415. So in the aggregate, you're looking at almost $900,000 in new spending compared to FY26. That's a major hit, and it drives your budget. The next page is risk management. We have a legal services line item that captures all the legal funding for the entire county. We're looking for a $41,000 increase due to new litigation defense initiated in the fall by the Register of Deeds. The funding includes not more than $7,000 for legal budget needs for the Register of Deeds and the Treasurer's Office. The next call out will be on page 35, which is the Commissioner's Office bill. Go back. I think my pagination's off. Go up to salaries bill. Thank you. 2 call-up boxes to denote a modification to the county director and the assistant county director's salaries. As the commissioners know, and it's shown on this page, both these positions have been funded with $30,000 a year stipends since ARPA started. ARPA will end officially at the end of April of 2027. This calls account an adjustment to both salaries on May 1st, 2027. The county director will go to $175,000, and the assistant county director will go to $125,000. Let's see, the next call out will be page 58, the maintenance department.
It's not showing their page though, right? That it's just saying
On the salary side,
yeah.
it shows the amended salary in the FY.
I see it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I didn't see the bill more. Okay, thank you.
So thank you, Bill. So now we're in the maintenance space. I just want to show you'll see what appears to be a decrease in non-salary proposed expenses for maintenance. A lot of that is driven by the removal and reduction of costs associated with maintaining the Quincy District Court. So we went in and stripped away all of the utility expenses, contract expenses, service expenses that will no longer be needed. And it's in the aggregate just about $113,000 that were saved as a result of closing Quincy. Again, it's offset by a loss of revenue, so it kind of washes out. The next call out bill will be on, excuse me, registry deeds. This would be the summary page, Bill. Thank you.
What page is that?
I have it as 68.
Great, thanks.
So, as the commissioners are aware, the registry of deeds is funded through a mandate of prior year spending plus 2.5%. Our calculations indicate that if that were true, as of spending relative to 2/28/26, and then thus extrapolated to the end of June, the appropriation mandate would be $2,938,667.92. Excuse me. We did fund, and I'll go into this right now, Bill. If you go to the next page, which is salaries. There are two positions that are currently the matter of litigation between the Register of Deeds and the county. Those two positions are highlighted in red. They're vacant currently because there's been no activity taken on the hiring piece, but they'll be funded in FY27 pending litigation with the Register of Deeds and those outcomes. So keeping those two positions funded, as well as funding on page proposed expenses group 2. The register requested, those, 1 second. Let me jump. I just want to get to the last page, Bill. Group 5, the register had requested funding for additional office chairs to the tune of $11,000, and that was provided as well. So between the two positions,
what page is that?
73, it's group 5 expenses.
All right, good.
So between the two positions and the furniture chairs, that provides $193,000 in total spending or projected appropriation above mandate for FY27. I do want to go back, Bill, to group 2 in the Registry of Deeds. The register did request $50,000 for legal fees. Again, I'm just directing the commissioners back to the fact that he has funded an earmark of not more than $7,000 per year in the main legal account that I spoke of earlier. Okay.
What page, please? Was that?
This is group 2 under the Registry of Deeds. It's around 71, give or take.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next call up will be Agricultural High School proposed budget. This is, I have it as page 77, Bill. Thank you. So there's a little pagination offset there. I'm calling a banner page here, just to note that the tuition for the schools, which of course drives their budget, has a major impact. They are currently looking at 311 out-of-county students for their entire student body, and their rate next year is presented to be $31,241. Similarly, the number of in-county students, 299 at a rate of $5,501. These figures are inclusive of the $1,700 capital charge, which goes to all students to cover the capital debt of the school. So I just wanted the budget to reflect what the tuition is doing per in and out of county students, especially as there was a recent change in the tuition rate. And then finally, on the back page, we have a new business manager with the schools who's done an incredible job in the last 6, 7, 8 weeks or so since she's been here pulling together a school budget. I met with her several times. She was not able to get the historical spending lined up with each of the salaries that are shown in the budget. So I'm just noting that actuals were not available at the time of printing. But if folks want to see what they are compared to current year, you can go to the bottom of the salary page and it will show you the historical spending for each. Okay. Commissioners, that's it for the call outs. There's a lot of data in here, as you know, every year. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have relative to this proposed budget.
Richard, any questions?
No, you covered a lot there, and you covered a lot of things that I had questions on in terms of revenue and decrease. Of course, the Quincy Court in play helps us to some degree, but now it's going to be going away finally, it seems. So how sure are we on that? Is that from the horse's mouth from the state saying we're on target now? And
It is that.
okay.
The most recent conversation was probably closer to the beginning of the year, and the Commonwealth is under a contract with a new landlord to receive the operations of the Quincy District Court. That contract calls for the space to be ready by a certain date, and that hasn't changed.
Okay.
Obviously, things do come up, and if that does change, I'll be talking to you folks probably sometime in September.
Do they have an actual opening date? Do you know what?
I haven't heard.
Okay.
What I've heard is the first week in September. I think that's about the best they can do.
This year?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Is that in Quincy?
I believe it is. I
Okay.
believe it is. Yep. And then right after they vacate, they'll begin raising the building and doing the new capital construction.
So, are you ready for a vote on the budget?
Sure.
Richard, do you want to make a
So
motion?
I just want to say obviously the thing we want to make sure I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say something about a couple of the adjustments we made here. I think it's a fine job. I think the adjustments in terms of salaries for all of our people are something we should be looking at very carefully. For us to remain competitive as a county, as a public entity, you have to make sure your salaries are in line with other entities that are out there, both public and private. So I think that the change is good. The numbers add up. I'm worried, of course, when I see looking at way down the road, how that number's keyed up. But again, that's pushed out enough that we don't have to worry too much about that. It seems that for the next few years, right, it seems like we're pretty solid.
Mhm.
And certainly for the next fiscal year, we're in good shape, I think. Did we address the issue we had on IT? Wasn't there an issue on IT that we were looking for?
That'll come up through the supplemental budget, which you'll hear from me next week on.
Okay. I don't want to let that go.
Mhm.
All right. So I suppose we'd be making a motion to approve our budget for fiscal year 2027. If you give me the number, I can say it for you.
Oh.
Do you want the number? It'd be for the amount of $38,936,113.34. That's
So
presented.
I'll second that motion. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed, unanimous. Okay, perfect. Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Nice job.
All right, number 11, we have a bunch of requests for the civic rate at the golf course. Richard, if you want to run them all through as one vote, that'd be fine.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. We'll see it. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move the following, that the approval for the civic rate at the President's Golf Course for the following charitable organizations and various tournaments. I'm going to assume the tournaments are going to be held in the spring, sometime from April 1 all the way through perhaps October 1, would say. And it'll be granted to the following organizations: the Quincy Firefighters John T. Austin Memorial, the Quincy Police for their charitable foundation, the Quincy Sons of Italy, the Area D Open for the Boston police officers, the United Steelworkers Local 12,003 Charity Tournament, the Mark Susi Scholarship Memorial, and the Quincy Chamber of Commerce. I'd move those approvals for those organizations.
I'll second the motion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, item 12, report from the procurement department, bid openings and contract awards. Do we have anything today?
No, sir.
Okay. Number 13, report of the county director.
Thank you, Commissioner. A few items. Just mostly reminders. The county Human Resource Specialist sent out a notice to all employees that the open enrollment will take place from April 15th through May 15th. This is your opportunity to review your current benefits and make changes for the upcoming plan year. Please reference Maureen's email from March 31st, 2026. If you do have any questions, please contact her directly. She'll be happy to answer any. Also, just a follow-up notice, I'll probably have at least one more before May 1st. The State Ethics Commission is hereby directing individuals who are eligible or directed to file your statement of financial interest by May 1st, 2026. And that's an online process. If you know, you know. The supplemental will be before the commissioners next week for consideration. And then finally, just a notification again, the Finance Committee and Advisory Board will be meeting at the Aggie 2 weeks from today, starting at, I believe, 5 o'clock with the Finance Committee and followed by the Advisory Board at 6. That was all I have.
Okay. Okay, item 14, emergency items, topics that the chair did not reasonably anticipate would be discussed. I have nothing, Richard. John?
I would move, Mr. Chairman, if we don't have anything, to adjourn the meeting at 2:03.
Terrific. I'll second that motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Have a great day.